second grade. Today we're working on 15 paragraphs. Our objective is I can identify places where I need a new paragraph in a personal narrative. Just like the last two cycles, we're going to turn to page 21. On this page are examples of when we have new paragraphs. New paragraph happens anytime someone new starts talking, the setting changes, something sudden occurs, time passes, a new character is introduced, or a description of one thing ends and something new is described. To help us get ready for adding paragraphs to our personal narrative, we're going to read an example. It's on the last page in your booklet. It's on page 54, and it's from Zoe and Sassafras, More Horses and Bubbles. I'm going to read this story, and I'm going to think aloud why there are new paragraphs and how it helps me read it. My mom and dad were getting ready in the kitchen. I sank down in my chair at the table with a frown on my face. So here's a paragraph, and here's a new paragraph. And I'm looking right here, and I see lots of new paragraphs that are happening in this spot. So let me see what happens as I read it. What's wrong, Zoe? Didn't you have fun at the stream? Dad asked, taking the seat next to me. I shook my head no. I looked and looked, but there were no stream bug babies anywhere. You mean nymphs? Mom called over her shoulder. Oh, right. That's a word I keep forgetting. Nymphs. Yeah, no mayfly or caddisfly nymphs anywhere. Seriously, I'm super good at bug hunting. I even had my underwater viewer. I guess they all turned into adults at the same time and flew away. I sighed loudly. So this whole section right here, I noticed lots of paragraphs. And as I'm reading it, I can tell that there are multiple characters talking. So anytime someone new starts talking, that's when you add a new paragraph. And having that made it a lot easier for me to read and make sense of as I was reading it. Here's another new paragraph. My mom stopped what she was doing and sat down with me and Dad. I sat up a little straighter in my chair. No, they all wouldn't turn into adults at the same time, she said. That's why we usually find different sized nymphs when we go. Some are newly hatched and tiny, and others are about to become adults and huge. Did you see anything else unusual, like a lot of algae? So this paragraph, it's like something new is happening or time passes. And it's also showing me that Mom is like talking for a lot of this part of this paragraph. And then here's more paragraphs here. I rubbed my hands on my pants and thought about it. Yes, it was super slimy and cold. It kept sticking to my hands. So here we know that Zoe is talking. Mom and Dad looked at each other. Why were they so serious? So something else is described right here. Okay, so I'm gonna look at my story, and what I wanna do is I wanna try and make sure I add new paragraphs to the right spots so that my readers can understand my reading. So I'm gonna turn back to page 21 and keep it open as I'm looking through my story. And remember, I'm gonna start here because that's where my edit is, and I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna start with a new paragraph, doing those double lines and the backward squish C to show that that's gonna be my new paragraph. Have you ever seen a large wild animal while on a camping trip? This is the story of the first time it happened to me. Will and I were walking. Okay, so I'm describing something new. So I'm gonna start a new paragraph here. Will and I were walking on a wooden trail at Grover Hot Springs. The earthy pine smell mixed with the fresh cut wood, and I thought to myself, this must be a new trail. Okay, so that's finishing my talking. So I'm gonna start a new paragraph here. I could see lots of trees full of green pine around me. It was quiet, and all I could hear was our footsteps and the rustling leaves. I smiled as I took a deep breath. Suddenly, something sudden occurs, and I have this transition word here. So this is going to be a new paragraph. Suddenly I heard a loud thump. What was that? I wondered. I'm going to start a new paragraph here. I looked at the forest floor and saw a pine cone had fallen. A few seconds later, oh, I have another transition or something sudden occurs. So I'm going to put a new paragraph. A few seconds later, I heard loud, angry birds yelling squawk, squawk as they flew away. And now I'm starting to describe something different. I'm starting to describe the gnarly old tree in front of me during this section, so I'm going to make a new paragraph. In front of Will and I was a gnarly old tree. It had a long branch shooting out, and I could see a creature climbing on it. I'm going to stop here so you can get started on yours. So just like I'm doing, you're going to read the story over to yourself. You're going to have this open in front of you, so checking to see if any of these things are happening. So you should start a new paragraph. You're going to annotate or edit by using that backwards, the 2 lines and the backwards C squished up here. Okay, so go ahead and get started.